You wake up every morning, go to work, come home exhausted, and repeat. Month after month, year after year. You're working harder than ever, but your bank account tells a different story. You look around and wonder why some people seem to effortlessly build wealth while you're stuck in the same place. Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. It's not the economy. It's not your boss. It's not bad luck. Jim Rohn spent decades studying success and failure, and what he discovered will make you uncomfortable. Because the reason poor men stay poor has nothing to do with money and everything to do with the man in the mind. Jim Rohn was a farm boy from Idaho who went from broke and struggling at age 25 to becoming one of the most influential success philosophers of our time. He didn't inherit wealth. He didn't get lucky. He made a decision that changed everything. And throughout his career, he shared one message that most people didn't want to accept. Poverty isn't just a financial condition. It's a mindset, a set of habits, and a series of daily choices. Today, we're going to break down Jim Rohn's brutally honest message about why poor men stay poor. This isn't about making excuses or feeling sorry for yourself. This is about facing the truth so you can finally break free. Let's dive in. You know, I've been thinking about something for a long time now, and I've got to share it with you, because if I don't, I'm doing you a disservice. I'm going to tell you why poor men stay poor. Not to hurt you, not to shame you, but because somebody's got to have the courage to say what needs to be said. See, most people think poverty is about money. They think if they just had more dollars in their pocket, everything would change. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way, standing where you're standing, struggling like you're struggling. Poverty is not about money. Poverty is about philosophy. Let me say that again, because this is where it all begins. Poverty is not about money. Poverty is about philosophy. You can hand a poor man $1 million today, and in 5 years, I promise you, I absolutely promise you, he'll be broke again. But you can take everything away from a wealthy man, strip him down to nothing, and in 5 years, he'll have it all back and more.
What's the difference? It's not the money. It's never been about the money.
It's about what's going on between the ears. It's about how you think. It's about your philosophy of life. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Jim, you don't understand my situation. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how hard it is. And you're right. I don't know your specific situation, but I know mine. And I know I was broke at 25 years old. Dead broke. I had pennies in my pocket and a family to feed. I had more excuses than money. I blamed the government. I blamed the economy. I blamed my boss. I blamed the company. I blamed everything and everyone except the one person who was really responsible, me. And that's the first brutal truth I've got to give you today. Poor men stay poor because they spend their time blaming instead of changing. Listen carefully. You can spend your time blaming, or you can spend your time changing, but you cannot do both. You've got to make a choice. Are you going to be a victim, or are you going to be a victor? Because I'm telling you right now, the moment you take responsibility, total, complete, absolute responsibility for where you are, that's the moment everything begins to shift. I had a mentor who changed my life. His name was Earl Schoaf. And Earl said something to me that hit me like a hammer, Jim. If you want to be wealthy and happy, learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Now, when he first said that, I didn't get it. I was working hard. I was putting in the hours. I was sweating. I was tired at the end of every day. What more did he want from me? But that wasn't the point. See, I was working hard on the job to make a living, but I wasn't working on myself to make a fortune. I wasn't developing myself. I wasn't growing. I wasn't learning. I was just existing, just going through the motions. Clock in, clock out. Repeat. And that's what poor men do. They work hard on their jobs, but they don't work on themselves. They don't read the books. They don't attend the seminars. They don't invest in their own personal development. They say, I don't have time. I'm too tired. I can't afford it. Well, let me ask you something. Can you afford not to? Can you afford to stay exactly where you are for the next 5 years? For the next 10 years? Can you afford that? Here's what I learned. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. Think about that. Two people can work the same job, the same hours, but one makes 10 times what the other makes. Why? Because one has developed skills the other hasn't. One has knowledge the other doesn't have. One brings value that the marketplace rewards. Poor men stay poor because they don't understand this fundamental truth. They think time equals money. They think, I'll just work more hours. But that's not how wealth works. Wealth comes from value. Wealth comes from serving. Wealth comes from solving problems. Wealth comes from becoming more valuable in the marketplace. So how do you become more valuable? You work on yourself. You read the books, you listen to the teachers, you learn the skills, you develop the disciplines. You don't wait for someone to send you to a seminar. You send yourself. You don't wait for your company to train you. You train yourself. You take responsibility for your own education, your own development, your own growth. I remember when I was broke, someone invited me to a seminar that cost $500. $500! I didn't have $500, but I found it. You know why? Because I knew that if I didn't invest in myself, nobody else was going to do it for me. And that seminar changed my life. The ideas I learned, the people I met, the connections I made, it was worth 100 times what I paid. But poor men don't do that. They say, I'll go when I have the money. But that's exactly backwards. You go to the seminar to GET the money. You read the books to learn how to get the money. You invest in yourself before you have the money, because that investment is what creates the money. Let me give you another brutal truth. Poor men stay poor because they surround themselves with the wrong people. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Show me who you spend time with, and I'll tell you where you're going to end up. This is not negotiable. This is not optional. This is a law as certain as gravity. If you hang around 9 broke people, I promise you, you're going to be the 10th. If you hang around 9 negative people, 9 complainers, 9 victims, 9 people who are always talking about what's wrong with the world and never doing anything to improve their own situation, you will become just like them. Not because you want to, but because that's how influence works. That's how association works. Jim Rohn's law of association, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that. Who are your 5 people? Are they growing? Are they reading? Are they learning? Are they building something? Are they positive? Are they ambitious? Are they going somewhere? Or are they stuck? Are they complaining? Are they blaming? Are they waiting for someone to rescue them? Now, I'm not saying you need to be cruel. I'm not saying you need to abandon people. But I am saying you need to make some tough decisions about who gets your time and who gets your energy. Because your time is your life. When you give someone your time, you're giving them a portion of your life that you'll never get back. Make sure they're worth it. Poor men stay poor because they let the wrong people influence them. They go home and their broke friends say, don't take that risk. Don't start that business. Don't invest in yourself. Just play it safe. Just keep your job. And they listen. They take advice from people who have never done what they want to do, who have never been where they want to go, who have never achieved what they want to achieve. Would you take financial advice from a broke person? Would you take marriage advice from Mayana, who's been divorced 5 times? Would you take health advice from someone who's 100 pounds overweight? Then why in the world would you take life advice from people who aren't living the life you want to live? You've got to be selective. You've got to be protective of your mind, of your dreams, of your ambitions. You've got to guard your mental and emotional space like it's the most valuable real estate in the world. Because it is. Here's another truth, and this one's going to sting. Poor men stay poor because they don't have a plan. They drift. They wander. They hope. They wish. But they don't plan. Let me ask you, do you have a plan for your life? Do you have a written plan? Do you have goals that are clear and specific and measurable? Do you know exactly what you want to accomplish in the next 90 days, the next year, the next 5 years? Or are you just kind of floating, just kind of seeing what happens? Because let me tell you what happens when you don't have a plan, nothing good. When you don't have a plan, you end up living someone else's plan. You end up building someone else's dream instead of your own. I learned this lesson the hard way. For years, I drifted. I worked for other people, building their dreams, making them wealthy while I stayed broke. And then one day, my mentor said to me, Jim, you've been working on someone else's plan. When are you going to start working on your own? That question changed everything. I went home that night, and I got out a piece of paper, and I started writing. What did I want? What did I really want? Not what my parents wanted for me. Not what society expected. not what seemed practical or safe. What did I want? And I wrote it down, all of it. The income I wanted to earn, the person I wanted to become, the skills I wanted to develop, the places I wanted to go, the impact I wanted to make. I wrote it all down. And you know what happened? My life started to change. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, consistently, because now I had a target. Now I had a direction. Now I had something to aim for. Poor men don't do this. They say, I want to be rich someday. Someday? Someday is not a day of the week. Someday is nowhere. Someday is the graveyard of dreams. You've got to be specific. You've got to be clear. You've got to write it down. You've got to look at it every single day. You've got to measure your progress. You've got to adjust your course. You've got to stay committed. Let me give you another brutal truth. Poor men stay poor because they don't understand the difference between price and value. They make decisions based on price instead of value. They buy the cheapest thing instead of the best thing. They take the easy path instead of the right path. They focus on what it costs instead of what it's worth. Let me give you an example. A poor man looks at a book and says, $20? That's too expensive. But he'll spend $50 on drinks with his friends on Friday night without thinking twice. He'll spend money on entertainment, on comfort, on temporary pleasure, but he won't invest in his education, in his development, in his future. A wealthy man looks at the same book and says, if there's one idea in this book that changes my thinking, it's worth $1,000. He doesn't focus on the price, he focuses on the value. He focuses on the potential return. This is a fundamental difference in philosophy. Poor men ask, how much does it cost? Wealthy men ask, what is it worth? What will it do for me? How will it change me? What will I learn? You've got to start thinking in terms of value, not price. You've got to start investing in things that appreciate instead of things that depreciate. You've got to start putting your money, your time, your energy into things that will give you a return. And here's the thing. The greatest investment you can ever make is in yourself. Not in the stock market, not in real estate, in yourself, in your skills, in your knowledge, in your character, in your disciplines. Because everything else can be taken away from you. The economy can crash, the market can fall, your job can disappear. But what you know, what you've learned, who you've become, nobody can take that away from you. That's yours forever. Now let me give you one more brutal truth, and this might be the most important one. Poor men stay poor because they don't have discipline. They have intentions. They have desires. They have wishes. They don't have discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Discipline is doing what you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. Discipline is saying no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Poor men lack discipline in every area of their lives. They lack financial discipline. They spend more than they earn. They buy things they don't need. They live paycheck to paycheck. They lack time discipline. They waste hours on television, on social media, on activities that don't move them forward. They lack health discipline. They eat poorly. They don't exercise. They neglect their bodies. They lack learning discipline. They don't read. They don't study. They don't grow. And here's what happens. All these little lacks of discipline add up. Day after day, week after week, year after year. They add up to a life of struggle, a life of limitation, a life of regret. But discipline works the same way in the opposite direction. Small disciplines practiced every day lead to great achievements over time. Reading 10 pages a day, saving 10% of your income, exercising 30 minutes a day, learning one new skill a month. These small disciplines, practiced consistently, compound over time into extraordinary results. The problem is poor men want the result without the discipline. They want the harvest without the planting. They want the reward without the work. They want to be wealthy without doing what wealthy people do. They want to be successful without becoming the kind of person who succeeds. That's not how life works. You don't get rewarded for what you want. You get rewarded for what you do. You don't get paid for your potential. You get paid for your performance. You don't build a fortune with intentions. You build it with disciplines. Practice daily. over time. So here's what I want to say to you today. If you're poor, if you're struggling, if you're stuck, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I've been there. I know what it's like. But I'm also here to tell you the truth. And the truth is this: you can change. You can grow. You can become more. You can earn more. You can achieve more. But you've got to stop blaming. You've got to stop making excuses. You've got to stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Nobody's coming. The government's not coming. The lottery's not coming. Your ship's not coming in. You've got to swim out to. You've got to take responsibility. You've got to work on yourself. You've got to surround yourself with the right people. You've got to make a plan. You've got to focus on value instead of price. You've got to develop discipline. These are the fundamentals. These are the keys. These are the reasons why poor men stay poor. And these are the solutions that will set you free. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep doing what you've been doing and hope for a different result? Or are you going to make a decision right here, right now, to change? Because I'm telling you, the day you make that decision, the day you truly commit to becoming more, to learning more, to doing more, that's the day everything begins to change. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. Today, the life you want is waiting for you. But you've got to go get it. You've got to earn it. You've got to become the kind of person who deserves it. So stop waiting, stop wishing, stop hoping, start working. Start learning, start growing, start becoming, because you can do this. I believe in you. But more importantly, you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to see yourself differently. You've got to know deep in your soul that you were made for more than struggle, more than limitation, more than just getting by. You were made for greatness. You were made to build something significant. You were made to leave a mark on this world. But it all starts with a decision to change your philosophy, a decision to take responsibility, a decision to become more. Make that decision today and watch what happens to your life. The platform is yours. The opportunity is here. The time is now. What are you going to do?